Hi guys, just a really quick video I just wanted to make. Just finished watching the entire Airplay documentary, both parts, about Gamergate. And I wanted to say that if you haven't watched my watch through of the first half, or the first part of the series, it's actually very long, very in depth. Please go to the channel and check it out. I streamed it yesterday. So I wanted to follow up because I think there's a very, very important point that people are missing. And that is that Gamergate is still happening. It has not really ended because ultimately what it is it is a critique of modern journalism. And more specifically, right, the ideological um, framework from which all of this progressive nonsense comes from. This is the reason why people are getting, swatted, and there are bomb threats called on meetups, and there are doxing, and all of these other things, right? And no one seems to know that. Maybe they haven't been doing this as long as I have. I've been in Gamergate since before Gamergate. I was there for Elevator Gate. I saw all of this unfolding. And the most important part of it is that obviously people are going to have differing opinions ideologically. Sure, that's fine. But the issue comes with the way that our mainstream media reports on these things, what they choose to talk about, what they choose not to talk about, what they think is important versus what they don't think is important. And so this is very, very crucial. Okay. So here we have Taylor Lorenz. She is not a games journalist. She is not part of Crash Override Network. She is not part of Kotaku in Action. She didn't work for BuzzFeed or Nick Denton or Gawker or any of these outlets. She is a mainstream legacy media millennial journalist, and she is experiencing exactly the same things that, like, essentially her industry is collapsing. It is imploding because the media lies. And that's just what it is, okay? So we're going to look at this video as proof of what I'm saying, and then I'm going to tell you, this has everything to do with Gamergate. All right, here we go.
The entire journalism industry is basically in a free fall. Today, the Los Angeles Times laid off 115 employees. They wiped out their entire DC bureau in an election year. They laid off pretty much all of their sports teams. They killed their entire tech and business section. They laid off breaking news writers, social media editors. The list goes on. But what's really dark is this is just the latest in months and months and months of layoffs in the media industry. In fact, tens of thousands of journalists have been laid off in the past year. Major media companies like BuzzFeed News have completely shuttered their news operations. Time magazine also just laid off a ton of people, and Sports Illustrated basically shut down last week. Pretty much the entire digital media ecosystem that myself and a lot of other millennial journalists came up in has been completely hollowed out. And it's not.
Yeah, because you guys are liars. They've been educated by Marxists, by commies, to have a specific worldview and to push that worldview, that ideology forward. So I'm not even really I'm blaming Taylor Lorenz, but I see that this is a symptom, right? This is why when Gamergate was going on and there was all this talk about whether or not the focus should be ethics or if it should be on the ideology. I said from the beginning, the problem is the ideology. If you clean up all of the issues, right, with ethics in journalism, it won't matter, because the reason why journalists have poor ethics is because they've been trained to see their ideology as the ultimate end goal, not the practice, not doing what's right. Their view on morality is completely skewed. Whether or not something is ethical or not is completely skewed, and nobody seems to understand. Even if you confront them, they will be confused by what you are proposing. They'll say, "I don't understand," because they're programmed. They have been completely programmed and ideologically brainwashed, essentially, by our education system, by our broader culture. And so Taylor Lorenz, probably in her heart of hearts, is a true believer. She believes that what's happening to her is unfair and has nothing to do with like her trying to do her job. And the truth is that is not the case. Once you start, and that's what Gamergate is ultimately about. It's about, it should be, and I think this is plain for people who stuck around and are still doing the work to this day. Tim Pool, who was reporting on Gamergate when he started off, is still doing the work of finding the truth, of getting to the root, right? Where does this all come from? So our mess that we're in now, with the border, with foreign wars, with like climate change, with the WHO, with the World Economic Forum, with the various alphabet agencies that are trying to like essentially like go after people like Paul Elam and the men's movement. The ADL is we're on their radar now. All of it is coming from bad journalism, which comes from ideological brainwashing, which comes from sort of like, I guess you could say secular humanist feminist philosophy, intersectionality, Black Lives Matter, cities burning down. All of it is related. All of it. Gamergate was the bulwark. We saw this coming in games journalism, but the gaming journalists were probably like the low man on the totem pole. It was the mainstream that was they were the real problem, right? And the thing is, like, a lot of people in AM radio, they were talking about this for a long time, and no one paid attention to them because we were all told that you can't listen to Rush Limbaugh or whoever, right? Glenn Beck, whatever it was. And so now, we're finally starting to fight back. We're finally starting to react, but it's been 10 years. So what's the prediction for the next 10 years? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I mean, there's no point in going through more of this video. Essentially, she's just saying that it's a real shame, and that if journalism ceases to exist, the world's going to be a poorer place for it. I happen to disagree, but I'd like to know your thoughts on that. So what do you think about this? Do you think that this is ultimately like Gamergate is like the canary in the coal mine? Maybe Elevator Gate before that? And everything that has come after, from Trump to the alt-right to whatever, it was all like downstream from this corrupt media entertainment industry, all of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. And also, I'm going to be talking to the director of the guy who created the Gamergate documentary sometime this week. So please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you there. Long live Vivian.